everyone, and welcome to the final episode
of
the greatest book never published podcast, where we read the greatest book never published. The book is The Infection right here, this amazing piece of art that I wrote probably like 10 or so years ago when I was 13 or so. And, somehow I never published this piece of magnificent art. But yeah, if you haven't listened to the past episodes of the podcast, you should definitely go back and listen to those first, or you won't know what's going on. And, you don't want to find out what happens at the end before you listen to the rest of it. Mm-mm. That would just be stupid. You gotta follow the story along, and then you'll be surprised at the end and shocked at whatever happens. We don't even know what's going to happen yet. I mean, I kind of know some of the things, because I remember a little bit when I wrote this book. But anyways, I'm Nim.
I'm Nate.
And I'm Steve.
And we are here to do this. Okay, so where did we last leave off first?
So Nate got shot.
It got shot.
And fell
so we don't know
out the window, I think.
So we don't know if he died or not yet.
Yeah. And then Steve
saved Abigail. The hovercraft went down. Because Zach pressed a button.
Jameson jumped off, right?
Yeah, he jumped off.
Zach pushed the button to make it fall. And that was the end of the chapter.
That was his contribution. Well, I mean, I guess those three characters, their contribution was taking out the bounty hunters, but that was their big contribution. And then, Nate's was stopping the missiles, except one missile has been launched, and it is the one that's going to hit New York City, which is the place that they're at. So
yeah, but apparently it has a lot of scumbags in it, but it's still home. So
according to Steve, it's filled with a lot of scumbags, but it's still my home. Oh my gosh. So what do you think? Do you have any predictions on how this is going to end? Any ideas?
Yes, the missile's going to hit. And it's going to kill everyone.
Yeah, all the main characters are going to die, is my guess, and then the bad guys are going to take over the world.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What do you think are some legitimate things?
Like I already just told you.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm just kidding. But
see, I'm not going to say because I already I know how it wraps up.
I remember how
they're going to stop the missile. Or wait, they do stop the missile, I think.
All right, we'll see.
I don't remember.
Well, if they didn't, I feel like that would be a lead into the sequel. It's ends on a cliffhanger for a sequel. That would actually imagine if it ended on a cliffhanger because they're like, oh, I never wrote the
next
sequel.
One. Everybody just left on a cliffhanger.
Oh man. Chapter 81, Zach Thompson. It's the last chapter. Last time we'll see Zach Thompson's perspective.
Ooh.
I'm gonna cry.
Oh boy.
I'm in a helicopter with red, black, scope, and a few other people with Eagle piloting. After I turned off half of the engines, I got out, turned into gas, and floated to this helicopter.
Oh, I was going to say, because didn't he push the button after they left?
Yeah.
Wow.
Right, well, remember he's OP, so he can just...
He can do whatever he wants. He could have just floated to the ground. He didn't have to get in the helicopter, but,
Yep. We're flying down to the ground, leaving the hovercraft to fall into the water. Do you think he was successful? I asked Red. I don't know, she says. Let's hope so, because if not, we will face something almost impossible to defeat. Thousands of people who have been infected. That's why we must hope and pray that he was successful. Oh, I should have said that, and it was Red talking, so it should have been a British accent. Let's hope so, because if not, we'll face something. Okay, anyways, I'm not going to reread the whole thing.
Almost impossible to defeat.
I then notice something falling in the air in the distance. What is that? Someone says. I look closer and realize what it is, or who it is. It's Nate. I say. Without hesitation, I jump off of the helicopter. I fall extremely fast. Nate is too far below me for me to be able to catch up to him.
Just make yourself heavier.
I know, right? I make my weight as heavy as I can. I fall faster, causing me to get closer to Nate. A few seconds later, I finally reach him. I wrap my arms around him. We are now so close to the ground that it will almost be about 10 seconds before we hit the ground. I quickly turn around so my back will be the only thing that hits the ground. I turn as light as possible and as solid as possible.
What?
We slow down a lot, but we slow
These
He's
don't really
OP.
go together.
He's just like OP. He can just do whatever
Dude.
he wants.
slow down a lot before we hit the ground, but the impact is still very painful. I feel like Nate would be dead at this point.
Yeah.
Like, dude, like Zach can survive because of his superpowers, but like Nate,
Yeah.
I don't think he has any like super invulnerability or anything
No, he
like
just.
that. Dude, and he got shot. He got bit in the head by a giant mutant rat. Like, come on.
Tough kid, I guess.
Yeah.
I lay Nate on the ground and see blood everywhere, even on me. I realize that Nate has been shot in the stomach, and blood is also gushing from his head.
Oof.
I put my ear to his chest and don't hear a heartbeat. Jeez. I look up and instantly see an ambulance pull up. Fox, Jameson, Steve, and Abigail standing next to it.
How'd they get there so fast? They were in the thing as it was falling.
Dude, no. Well,
How
so
slow does
Steve
Nate
and Abigail
fall?
were on the hovercraft.
Wait,
yeah.
but how?
But
Nate,
they were.
Nate must fall really slow through the air.
No,
That
you're
was
right.
like forever ago.
He fell a long time ago.
The timing of all this is a little
Yeah.
off. Yeah, you're right.
Nate was in the air for like 10 minutes just falling.
Yeah, because they had like Abigail. Nate
got
fell. Abigail and Steve had like a 10-minute conversation about her being his brother, or him being his
Yeah,
brother.
he gets shot and then the helicarrier fell
Yeah.
past him.
Nate never
Must
reached
be.
terminal velocity. Nate just kind of like Nate's like very Nate's
Maybe
like
he's really, really light.
he's like well no he's not very dense. He's like as dense as a feather. You know,
So
so
he
he's just
falls
kind of
real
like
slow.
woo,
So he wouldn't have gotten hurt if he landed on the ground anyway.
if that's the case.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
That doesn't make any sense.
Abigail is crying. So what now? I say. Did he stop the missile?
That's all Steve.
Okay, I mean it is important.
It's pretty
It
important.
is pretty important. Like,
I mean, he just died right there, and you're just.
but he's got a lot of adrenaline going where he's like, okay, we got to make sure everything's good. And
Yeah,
then
but he's not like trying to revive Nate.
Yeah, I don't know. He stopped all of them but one, Fox says. The one that will hit New York City. It's already on its way. How long before it hits? I ask. 2 minutes, Jameson says, looking at Nate's iPhone. Oh, it's his iPhone thing that he hacked tracks all of it. All the launch files were downloaded on here. According to this, we have just over 2 minutes before it hits. Lee will have control of an infection army.
Oh no.
Oh boy. What if it does end that way? It's just like lead into the sequel. In 2 minutes. Or it ends that way and then one chapter is so we fought and defeated all these this army of super soldiers and got rid of the mind control, so we're good. And then it ends. It gets wrapped up in like one chapter. One page chapter.
Fought a whole army in one chapter.
It's like a big they have a whole army of super soldiers. One chapter, all resolved. Done.
I doubt it. It's fun.
In 2 minutes, New York City will be gone, and all that remains will be an infection army. An army that will be almost impossible to stop. What do we do now?
I don't know.
Well, we'll find out if Stephen Richards has anything to say about it, because he is the next chapter. His chapter is next. Chapter 82, the last Stephen Richards chapter. Stephen Richards. Is there any way to stop it? Zach asks as we stand on a helicopter pad just on the outside of the city.
What? Oh, okay.
So I guess where they were was on the outside of the city, but that's
Yeah.
where they were standing was on a helicopter pad. Just happened to be a helicopter pad.
Yeah, but they pulled up in an ambulance, or is it, maybe that didn't happen yet.
No, they did.
So now they're on
To
top
grab
of a
Nate.
building all of a sudden.
Yeah, no,
The helicopter pad might be on the ground.
Probably not if it's in the city.
no, it's on the
It's
outside of the city. It says.
Outside of the city.
Yeah, just on the outside of the city. It says.
How did
So they're like looking at. They can see the city in the distance. Probably.
How on earth do they know exactly where Nate fell? Like right as he lands, they just pull up
You
in an
know what?
ambulance.
It doesn't matter. I'm just.
It's impressive.
It's a fictional story. If you're talking about the missile, then no, there is no way to stop it, Jameson says. But there is a way to stop Lee from controlling it. We must find the control system and destroy it. The people will still be infected, but their free will still be intact. And there will be no army. That's true. I guess at this point, that's like the best you can hope for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's got to be some other people got to get superpowers somehow, so otherwise there wouldn't be any other books.
So there's no way that we can stop the missile? Well, this is like an entire city of people just getting superpowers.
Yeah, but it probably doesn't hit the entire city. I mean, how big of a missile is it?
I don't know. I don't know if it's like nuclear bomb big. It's probably not quite that big.
Yeah, but it can't be like explosive big. It's probably more like red or green mist or something. I don't know.
Well, it's like the greenish
green fog or flames or whatever.
Yeah, that blew up. Well, when the thing blew
yeah,
up. Yeah. So there's no way that we can stop the missile, I say. Not that I... Jameson begins. Yeah, there is. I interrupt. Ooh, Steven's coming up with a way. Earlier, when I was falling to my death, I sent a shockwave to the ground, which caused me to launch up in the air. Of course, Jameson says. So you could launch yourself up to the missile and stop it in the middle of the air. You're a genius, Steve. Okay, so, like, yeah, he could do that. But couldn't Zach use his plasma to launch himself up there? And do it a lot easier?
Well, he can't launch himself
and literally run into it while being turned into plasma, like destroy the missile?
And in the end, yeah, he would be safer that way because...
Wouldn't Zach doing it be a lot easier
and
safer?
Invulnerable.
Right.
And he could just float up into the air. You know.
But you'd die, Zach says to me. If you stop the missile and it explodes in the air, you'd explode with it. I know, Steve says. That's a risk I'm willing to take. I may die, but I'll stop this whole thing.
It's a risk we'll have to take.
Uh-oh. No, Steve, Zach says. I don't want to lose my best friend. It's something I have to do, Zach, I say. I feel like it's what God wants me to do. Just a week ago, you didn't even believe God existed, Zach says. Well, because of you, I do now, I say as I look up in the sky and see the missile flying towards the city. Goodbye, Zach. Bye, Steve, Zach says with a tear in his eye. I run as fast as I can until I am directly under the missile. Zoom. Well, yeah, super speed would help. Am I still going to do this? Yes, I am. I told God that if he saved me and let me finish my mission and tell Abigail the truth, that he could do whatever he wanted with me. This is it. This is exactly what God wants me to do. It's what I was created to do. I can't back out now. I sent a shockwave straight to the ground, causing me to launch into the air. I don't quite make it high enough, so I send another shockwave down, causing me to launch even higher. I'm high enough, but the missile is ahead of me, so I send a shockwave behind me, causing me to launch toward the missile. Once I finally reach the missile, I grab onto it. It pulls me through the air at an extreme speed. What now? How do I stop it? Do I even have enough time?
I think just redirect it.
It's true, we actually probably could.
He's holding onto it, just shoot some shockwaves to the side and move it.
That's true, he probably could. What do I do now? How do I stop it? Do I even have enough time? Just before the missile is above the city, I send a shockwave directly at the missile, causing it to break in half. The last thing I see is a huge explosion, flames everywhere. Then, there's nothing.
Darkness.
Am
I dead? Oh wait, it's gonna say that.
Even though I am dead, I am at peace. At peace with the fact that I stopped the missile, saving millions of people.
He's talking about how he knows he's dead.
That's exactly what I was created to do. End of chapter.
Would this be the end of the Hooded 3?
Unless
Nate die?
Nate becomes part of the Hooded 3, and then it's like, oh, we're the Hooded 3.
Nate died too. Remember, his heart stopped.
Did he die?
Oh, I don't know.
Apparently
they just didn't care to revive him because they're too worried about stopping the missile.
Maybe there's other people there reviving.
just throwing the mic around.
It keeps falling over.
Yeah, the mic stands aren't great. These mics are a little too heavy for these mic stands. Chapter 83. Jameson Thompson. I watched the missile explode over the city. Then the flames disappear. The missile was stopped. The city was saved. We all smile, except for Zach. I pull him away from the others to talk. How do you feel? I ask. I don't know, he says. I feel as if none of this is real, that somehow he survived, and he will walk up next to us, and we will congratulate him on stopping the missile. But there's another side of me that says he'll never come back, that he's gone forever. Deep down, I know that that is the side I should listen to, because it is the side that tells me the truth. But I want to listen to the other side, because that side is just telling me what I want to hear. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, I feel the same way about Dad. I can't imagine life without him. Do you think
I thought he was gonna say, you know what I mean, and Steve's just gonna be like, yeah,
Yep.
I
feel
yeah,
the
I know
same
what you
way.
mean, man. That's awesome. Just comes up out of nowhere.
Do you think he might still be alive? I don't know. Oh, they're talking about their dad now. I don't know. I guess we'll find out someday. Yeah, you're probably right. You know what? This whole thing may be over, but our original mission isn't. We originally started trying to find Dad. Do you want to continue that mission? Just me and you? Sure. We won't tell anyone, just us two. Why not? I think everyone else wants to find him just as much as you do. Shadow wants to find him just as much as you do. And I'm sure Nate does too.
So Nate died, so.
We're just, this will be our little
You know what's great?
We're trying to find Dad.
You know what's great is they're literally like having this conversation, and they're all like happy that he stopped the missile. They're all smiling about it, while Nate's just dead on the ground.
There could be people reviving him with it right now.
Yeah, but like they're not paying attention to him at all. They don't care about.
He's like,
Nate. They're all worried
Steve
about
died.
Dad and Steve, but not Nate.
Nate.
Nate's just dead on the ground in front of them.
I don't care about him. He's just my little brother. I don't care.
Yeah, he's expendable.
Let's shake on it. Zach says as he extends his hand to me. I shake it. Now, let's go see what the others are up to. We walk back over to where the others are talking about what to do next. So I guess, so that's the like, setup for the sequel. Is like, oh, we still haven't found Dad yet. So I guess that's, like, the...
They don't find Dad in this movie at all. Or in this book.
I mean, we're in the last 2 chapters, so I don't think so.
I'm watching it like a movie, and it's hilarious. Or I'm imagining it like a movie, and it's hilarious.
Yeah. It's a comedy.
Yeah, it really is. Let's go see what the others are up to. We walk back over to where the others are talking about what to do next. Zach and Jameson, Fox says, I have something to show you. He shows us a picture of an old man. The same old man that I saw when I died. Grandpa. This is the only body we found in the wreckage of the hovercraft so far. I think that you might recognize him. They already found his body in the wreckage. Oh my gosh. I think you might recognize him. I do, Zach says. I met him in the hovercraft. He was one of the prisoners. He said that he didn't know who he was or why he was there. I have no idea who he was, though. Jameson Thompson, I say. It's our grandfather, Jameson Thompson. I saw him in heaven when I died. At least I think it was heaven. he just drops that on him. I saw him in heaven when I died.
Wait,
you died?
Wait,
yeah,
what?
I came back to life. What?
That happened? He told me that my job on Earth wasn't finished. I came back to life. I guess that's because of my healing power. I wish I knew why he was there, Zach says. Zach's not even questioning. Wait, you died and came back to life? He's just like, yeah, I wish Grandpa... I wonder what happened to him. I do, Fox says. He was one of the founding members of Shadow, and a good friend of mine. 10 years ago, when Shadow started, Snake also started. Oh, the Snake and Shadow started at the same time. Interesting.
Wait a minute.
Crape had set up a whole network of corrupt people in the government. He had a plan to take over the government. Crape had a tracking device hidden inside of your grandfather. Oh, okay.
Whoa.
We couldn't get it out without killing him in the process. He had to leave our group so that Crape couldn't find us. He ended up getting captured because of it, and he was never seen again. What a backstory. What a backstory. Wow. Oh my gosh. He had a tracking device embedded so deep in his body, we couldn't get it out without killing him. Dude, how did they even put it there? Probably because they have the amazing Dr. Ulrich, who's probably such a good scientist to figure out how to implant it in there.
Mm-hmm.
How did it get there in the first place?
He was never seen again. I don't know. Never seen again. Probably don't want to know. Now we know what happened to him. If he hadn't done that, we would have been stopped and Crape could have succeeded. He would be in control of the government and possibly the world by now. You should be proud to have a grandfather like him. Yeah, except you somehow let them put a tracking device on him. What an idiot.
Maybe he was a double agent from the beginning.
Alright, that's the end of that chapter. One chapter left, and it's like not a very long chapter, so this is Nathan Thompson's last chapter.
Well, he died, so...
Yeah, it's Nathan Thompson in heaven. I'm lying in a hospital bed, which I woke up in this morning. It is a week after I was shot. When I woke up, I was surprised to find myself alive. They said that I almost didn't survive. They said that it was a miracle that I am alive. I was told how Zach jumped off the helicopter and saved me. I was told how Steve died stopping the missile. I was told how Steve is really Lyle Crape's son. I was also told that they never found Steve's body, but that there was no possible way he survived, so he was pronounced dead. I was also told that Crape's body wasn't found in the wreckage of the hovercraft. Oh. He could still be alive. I was also told that Lee is still alive because he has appeared on TV continuing his presidential campaign. Fox pressed charges against him, saying how he was part of what Crape did. They found no evidence against him, so he's still a free man.
Yeah, but I feel like it's got to affect his presidential campaign a little bit.
Yeah, well. Yesterday, they had a double funeral for Steve and this guy that is apparently my grandfather. They had a double funeral?
Like a double wedding.
A double funeral for two people who don't even know each other.
Dude, for Steve and their grandpa.
But Steve didn't have any families. They're basically his family.
Oh my gosh. So far, so he's still in the hospital. So
But
far, I've been visited by several people in this hospital bed today. Zach Jameson, Fox, some friends from school, Mr. Black, Agent Scope, and Agent Eagle. Still haven't been visited by the person I want to see the most, Abigail. Yeah, she doesn't like you anymore. I know she'll come see me eventually. I saved her life. Why wouldn't she? That's the only reason she's gonna come see you. If you were in the hospital for not saving my life, I wouldn't come see you. Then the door opens. Abigail walks in. I'm sorry it took me so long to come see you, she says. I had to work after school. Excuses.
After that whole ordeal, I gotta go to work.
Still working at that gift shop. It's okay, I say. I'm just glad you're here now. Me too, she says as she sits down on the edge of the bed. How could I not come see the man who saved my life? She actually sees me as a man, not just some little kid who has a crush on her. You know? I mean, Nate's probably like in the middle of puberty now, if you think about it. He's like 30.
You know, Abigail.
You know, I say. You did also save my life a few times. That is true, she says. I guess that's what we're meant to do, save each other's lives. Okay. It's a weird thing to say.
Yes, that's just what we do.
I think a real person would say that, okay? Her face is now so close to mine that it would normally make someone feel uncomfortable. But I don't.
What? Why do you just say that he just kiss her or something? Like, that's weird.
This is making the way I wrote it is making me uncomfortable. I guess we are, I say. She kisses me on the lips, then stands up and walks out of the room.
Oh, yeah. Nice. Good job, Nate.
Yeah, I love how she just stands up and leaves right after. Not even like...
They had a 2-second conversation after she thought he died.
Kisses him.
And then she walks in and kisses him and leaves.
Without even saying a word. This looks to be the start of a beautiful relationship. Or maybe not, because she just left. She kissed you and she's like, he's not a very good kisser. I'm leaving.
I mean, he's a 13-year-old boy, so...
I lay my head down on the pillow, then fall asleep, happier than I think I've ever been before. Aw. Even though somebody died.
Is that the end?
Really happy. That is the end. The very end. The
Wow.
last.
Wow, all that for that ending.
Oh,
Wow.
Yeah, I feel like my ending.
The
is
whole
not
like build
that
up through the whole
great.
book, and then the ending just sucked.
the ending was not very.
No.
I mean, like, it's fine how it ended. It just like didn't
Well,
happen super well.
The thing is, I was also like, I think I was like thinking ahead of like the future books, and I was like, I just want to finish this one so I can move on to the next one. So I was just like, yeah, we can wrap this up.
You gotta
a lot of it was like
fully focus on
we're
one.
setting things up, like there's a reason that they never found clear evidence of Steve's death.
Well, obviously,
Obviously,
he's gonna come back as a bad guy in another book.
That
Being
was
mind
actually
controlled.
the idea. That's actually what I was
Yeah,
gonna
bad
do.
guy. It's gonna be like Bucky and Captain America.
Oh,
No,
yeah,
it was
yeah,
literally
yeah.
it was literally like that. He's gonna. He had his like villain name was something, but it was like mind control type thing. But like, what was his villain name? It was like I came up with a name. Because he's Sonic Boom, but it was like I don't remember what it was though. I don't know, but yeah, that was literally what was gonna happen. That was gonna happen. It was gonna be. I'm trying to think. There was like actually a book that I was gonna write that was supposed to take place like many years later when Nate's like old and all of his brothers are dead. Or at least, yeah, I don't know. It was after a separate storyline that was all about the government taking over the world or something. I don't know, taking over the country. Then they stopped that. I don't know. There's a whole trilogy about that. This is the start of a trilogy. There's going to be a trilogy about that happened years later, and then there was going to be another trilogy even years after that where somebody attempts the super infection bomb thing again and actually succeeds. Like the bomb actually hits, except like the mind control doesn't work on everybody. So there's like a bunch of people who are mind controlled, and some people who gain powers who become like the main characters of that story. Anyways, that was a whole story. This trilogy it was the Infection trilogy, obviously. So the first one is called The Infection. The second one was going to be called The Infected. And can you guess what the third one was going to be called? The third one was going to be called The Infector. Yes. So I had all these ideas for those. So like the second one is actually it was like the villains gain some of the infection and they use it to create their own. So they were going to fight other people who were infected. They were going to be villains who were infected. Because in this, like, there are no infected
They're the only
villains.
people that were infected. So.
Yeah. So there was a whole world. There was going to be like other series about other characters. There was the American Eagle series was going to be one of them. The Storms, which was like there was a person with storm powers, and she had like 5 kids. Each one had a different storm power. So like one had lightning, one had like thunder, one had like water power. Stuff like that. There was, There was
a lot of series.
There was other ones.
A lot of.
There was a whole thing, but none of that happened. That was
Sonic Slash and Ice Frost. Yeah.
I started writing books for some of them, but I can't find what I wrote like anywhere. I don't think it exists anywhere anymore, sadly, except for this. This is like what's left. And then whenever I tried to rewrite this book, that exists. But other than that, I don't think the rest of it exists anywhere, which is sad because I never finished any other books. This is the only one I finished. But yeah, so that's that. One other thing. So when I wrote this, I have this little thing in the back of this book here. It is a questionnaire that I used to ask people. Basically, when I wrote this, I wanted to give this book to like different friends and stuff like that to read, and then to kind of like gauge, because this was technically a rough draft, to kind of gauge people's what they thought of the book, so they could. And I gave the questionnaire where that they would write down the answers as a way for me to get an idea of like what audiences think of it. So it's kind of like having like a like, what do you have, like a test audiences for like a movie or something, similar type of thing. So let's read the questions. They'll ask us what we think of the book. So first question: did you enjoy reading the book? There's 12 questions, by the way. Did you enjoy reading the book?
Absolutely.
Yeah, 100% enjoyed it.
150%.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good comedy.
We did. I was gonna say we definitely enjoyed it. So, did you enjoy listening? That's the other question. What was your favorite aspect of the book? Frank and Derek.
Frank and Derek's role in it
Frank
was
and
the
Derek
best.
That was a good
best
part.
characters.
Let me think.
I love.
The Colt 45 that's accurate up to 75 yards.
Yeah, that was good.
That was
Yeah.
pretty good.
And
I like the skydiving scene. It was pretty cool.
that was a good action
There
scene.
were some like cool action moments.
Yeah.
Like some cool moments.
Mm-hmm.
Most of it was just really dumb. And
I
clearly
wouldn't say
written by
most.
it was clearly written by a 13-year-old.
Definitely getting owned by some children. That's a good part.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Good action scene.
Yeah. Was there anything you thought should have happened differently? The ending.
The ending mostly.
It's
The
just-
ending
it
should have been
wrapped
written
up
better.
so quick, and so like, it's just too
Mhm.
quick, and then I don't know, just could have been done better. Or did you like the 4 narrator style? Why or why not? It's cool.
It is cool, but I think
It's too much.
it would be better if the chapters weren't so short, because it's so back and forth.
True. Or like if it was less, like if it was like 2 or 3 instead of 4 characters, like that's a lot.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's just
Yeah.
a lot of back and forth.
True.
It did work out well for our episodes though to do like 4.
Well, no, it made
four
the
chapters per
for the
episode.
podcast's sake, it made it fun. But
Yeah. Yeah.
for like, yeah.
Yeah.
Did the book have a good plot?
For the most part,
Yeah, that's
I
pretty
mean,
good.
the basic story
good storyline.
could be good. It's like I think it's the details that could be switched up, and like just the way certain things are written.
Yeah,
that could be
well,
switched
yeah,
up
yeah.
to prove it.
Yeah, the overall plot is pretty good.
It's pretty good.
If you could change the book, what would you change? We already had that. We had, was there anything you thought should have happened differently? It's like the same question. What would you change? I would have just not written. No book, no. I'm glad I wrote this
What's
book.
the greatest book never published?
Never published, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think is the overall message given in the book? To be a hero.
Yep.
Yeah.
With great... Or no.
Be
Not
a
with good heart.
hero and
The big guy.
The big
pray
guy
to
must
God.
stand up for the little
yeah.
guy.
Yeah.
For if he doesn't, the little guys no longer exist. Also to like trust in God or whatever. So.
Also, you know, if the little guy doesn't exist anymore, then you're just left with the big guys. So that's how the world gets stronger. Just saying.
Okay.
Survival of the fittest.
Yep.
Sure, yeah. Okay. Okay. Ready to get canceled over here. What was the message carried across well?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a bit too on the nose. It wasn't much subtlety. I like when a story has a bit of subtlety, you know, instead of just spelling it out for you, just telling you what,
You gotta
what you're
make
supposed to
sure.
think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You gotta
yeah.
make sure they know.
It's just kind of lazy writing. I suppose also like they keep pounding the like religious themes in, which is like, again, stories can have religious themes. That's fine. Obviously, a lot of stories do. Like look at like Lord of the Rings. It's clearly a religious allegory. You know, in a lot of ways. But like, it's just written in such a very like forced way, where it's like it's just kind of forced in there in a way that's very like unnatural and just makes it annoying when you read it.
Because you think about it, like I don't care what Christian you are. In situations like that, that's not going to be your like instant response every time something happens. You know what I mean? Like
They're
you're in the middle of
constantly
a fight and you're just like,
What would God do?
what would God
Jesus
do? Oh, let me pray about this while I'm getting stabbed to death by this guy. Like that's not like I don't know. It's just I feel like that's not just not how you.
Yeah, just generally it's like yeah. Is there any specific details that you think should be changed?
Yeah.
That question's been asked two other times already. Literally have like 3
You
questions.
really
that are
want
the
people
same.
to know what they want to change.
Yeah. How do you like the ending?
We already went over that.
I don't know. I mean, like, there's aspects of the ending that are like maybe.
Well, the idea of how the ending happened wasn't bad, but it should have been
the details
a little bit more drawn out and more like
more big.
Because like they didn't really struggle much in the end to like
Well, because they defeated the bounty hunter villains quickly. I think the problem too is like was giving the main characters like a good fight, like characters that actually put up a good fight. Like, I mean, the bounty hunter characters are, like, decent. Especially the King Killer.
King Killer, yeah.
But, you know, and I think that definitely was going to be remedied in the sequel, the second one, if I ever wrote it. I think I might have started writing it. I never finished it. Because I was going to have, like, actual superpowered villains who could, like, be a good match for them. So I think that's one of the main kind of things. It's just kind of,
Yeah.
Was the book too short? Spelled 2TO. So
I don't think it was too short.
I mean, I don't know. It's hard to tell because we spread it out over all these episodes. I think. Well, you know, I know it is. It is too short. I wish it went on forever. I wish this was as long as the longest Harry Potter book. As long as all of the longer than all of the Lord of the Rings books combined. And the Harry Potter books combined.
Would be terrible.
That would be awful.
And the Bible. And longer than all those combined.
That would be... I would never read that book.
Yeah.
I'd never even start reading it.
Every chapter just keeps ending on a new
I think if the ending was a couple more chapters...
I don't know if I could
Well, I think we could have added, like... We could have added, like, 4 more chapters.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To, like, stretch out the ending a little bit more. Like, just add a little bit more to it. Make it more bigger, more dramatic.
I mean, you could. Wait a second. You could, if you wanted to, rewrite the last, like, set of chapters and change the ending a little bit.
Or I could just rewrite the whole book.
You could. But you have to leave in the funny parts.
Yeah. You gotta leave in.
I think it would be fun. Like this is like the basic story of this is something I would like to eventually rework in some way. It need a lot of changes to work the way I want the story to be told. Like it's still fun to have this funny version here, but like it'd be nice to do like a take the good aspects and actually like turn it into something interesting.
Yeah,
it'd be fun. On a scale from 1 to 10, what would you rate the book overall?
11.
20 out of 10. Infinity out of 10, in fact.
It's too good, I can't even rate it.
I mean, it is the greatest book never published.
It's just unrateable.
I would give it honestly an honest 6.
6?
5.
Okay, I was going to say, if it's an honest rating, I would probably do like a 4 or 5.
But like...
Or like...
But like, in the aspect of you wrote when you were 13, I give it a 6.
True. In the aspect of like
if
just
you wrote
a
that
general
now,
book,
I'd give you like a 1.
Like a 3 or a 2, yeah.
Sure. But at the point of view of that it was written by a 13-year-old.
Technically speaking, I never like fully revised it. Like this was technically still the rough draft. I mean, like I went through and I did like tweaking of like grammatical errors and whatever, but like generally speaking, it pretty much stayed the same from the original. Right? You know, a lot of times authors go through like a bunch of rewrites before they finalize a book. You know, before you finalize a book or a screenplay or whatever you're writing. So I think that's also something you have to take into account.
That's true.
And I was 13, so. That, and then if there's anything else you would like to say about the book that was not covered in any of the above questions, please mention it below.
We mentioned that it's the greatest book never published.
Yeah.
I may have mentioned that.
We have mentioned that once or twice.
It's not like that's the entire title of this podcast that
right?
you say at the beginning of every episode.
But and that the quote on the front is the greatest quote ever.
It is true. Better than Uncle Ben's quote.
Yeah.
Big guy must stand up. Let's read it together one more time. The big guy
must stand up for the little guy. For if he doesn't, the little guy will no longer exist. Zach Thompson.
You cry?
Did he make that up
Wow.
though?
What?
Maybe he heard it from his uncle.
No, he heard it from his dad.
Oh,
He
it's
said
dad.
it in the book.
Oh, right. I forgot about that.
He said he's the character. That's why the character quote is a little weird because like John Thompson never says it in the book, but Zach Thompson is the only character who actually says it. But he says that he heard it from his dad.
Mm-hmm.
So technically, John Thompson's the one who said it first. But
You should have made John say it in the one chapter that he was in.
yeah, he was in like 2 chapters.
Oh, yeah, he was in 2 chapters,
I
I
think.
think.
Or 3.
Yeah,
Well, he was in 3 because he was in the one when he was about to kill Nate.
Oh yeah.
Or
But
Man.
then,
yeah,
Nate somehow got away. I forgot about
'Cause
that
Abigail.
part. Oh, because Abigail.
Abigail saved
Abigail
him.
goes yoinks him out of there.
So
Yoink.
I don't remember what my plans were of like what to do with John Thompson in the future. Like what like the ultimate plan was. I honestly do not remember what I was gonna do with him. Like were they just was the entire book series gonna be them just trying to find their dad constantly and never find him, you know?
Or maybe I don't know.
I don't know. I don't remember what I was gonna do with him. But anyways. That's about all. So all I have to say is we need to write the Frank and Derek book. That's what we need.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Frank and Derek. I forgot about that.
Yeah, best characters.
We'll call it the Infection 1.2 or something like that. 1.5.
What?
And it'll just take place during the first book, but like from the perspective of them.
It's like, oh my gosh, it's like have you ever heard of the comic series that's like it's in Star Wars universe, it's like Tag and Bink or whatever? Or is that what it is?
No, I've never
Something
heard
like
of
that. It's like these 2 guys who are in the background of like every Star Wars movie. They were like disguised as stormtroopers at one point on the Death Star. I think they were like the stormtroopers that were in the like you know how like Darth Vader left in his TIE fighter and he had like 2 stormtroopers with him. I think they were those guys. They were like just random different people throughout it.
Yeah.
They like pressed a button that helped destroy the Death Star or something. I don't know.
I just was thinking something. Were Frank and Derek on the helicarrier when it crashed? But when they were
I hope not.
when they were searching it, they said they only found one body, and it was of
Well, they only found one yet. There
Who's
was
the
more
body
in
of?
there.
again.
Oh, they found the body of the grandfather.
Yeah, he found the body of the grandfather, and he said that's the only body they found so far. But wasn't there like a ton of bad guys that were on the helicarrier?
Yeah, I
They
don't
just
know.
didn't find any of them.
They all
Well,
evacuated.
hopefully Frank and Derek didn't die.
There's no way
because
they
they're
would have
the best
evacuated
bad
in
guys
time
in
because
the book.
how fast that thing fell into the water. There's no way everyone evacuated in time.
No, and didn't they steal their helicopters off of it? I mean, there probably was more, but
I don't know. Oh, that's the other thing. Like, so Lyle Crape, it said they never found his body. That's because in the sequel, Lyle Crape was gonna come back as like a cyborg. Like he was incredibly like injured by that, but he was gonna come back as like a half robot thingy. Like he was gonna be a cyborg. I do remember that. But anyways, that's about all I think. Unless I don't know, got anything else to say?
that's all I
Yeah.
got for now.
Yeah. That's it.
Sad times, finally done.
End of this podcast.
Yep. It sucks that there's like so many things that are brought up. There's so many things that are like brought up that are like, ooh, that could lead to something interesting, but it's never resolved because of the fact that like this was supposed to be a big series. Like obviously you have characters like Dr. Ulrich escaped potentially with their DNA. What's he gonna do with that? You know, like there's all this, you know, John Thompson was never found.
Mm-hmm.
But him escaping with their DNA goes into part into like your next books where it's like the infected. If they're gonna fight other infected people, they have to get infected somehow. So obviously, he did escape with their DNA, probably.
Well, the ones with their specific DNA were gonna be in the third one, the Infector, because they were gonna be like people who have the exact same powers as them. Was what it was gonna be. Or it was like a person who had all of their powers, or one person who had all their powers, or something. I don't know. It was something like that, along those lines. Because the second one is just a bunch of people with different powers than them. There was like, well, there was one who's gonna have the same powers as Jameson, So he was going to be called the Man Crusher. That.
Hard Crusher again versus Man Crusher.
I mean, Man Crusher is better than
I crush men.
Molecule versus Atom.
No, that's a DC character. Can't take that. Yeah, there was like that. There was like a guy who had the powers of Magneto. There was like a guy who could like teleport, and he was like a wolf,
Like a Nightcrawler almost.
Wolf character. Yeah, except he's like white. It was like white Nightcrawler, basically.
Nightcrawler.
Like he had like
it's a better version then.
yeah. It was like, dude, I feel like there was like a dude who had like, I don't remember what else there was.
Well,
but they were all pretty. It was all pretty great. There was like 5 of them or something.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, that's about all.
the 18th time.
Yeah, I know. What's like the last episode? You want to wrap it up? You want to cover everything? But anyways, let us know if you want to see us read or write a new book, or if you want us to eventually read the rewritten version. I don't know how many chapters I rewrote, but yeah, let us know what you think. And yeah, that's about all. And I was going to say tune in next week, but no. Definitely stay, subscribe, follow my YouTube channel or follow us on the Spotify in case we do come out with those new episodes in the future, so that you're, ready for when they come out, if that happens. But yeah, so that's about all. You can check out Nathan's YouTube channel, Nate the Great, in the description. It's linked there. Thank you all for listening to the final episode. I'm Nim.
I'm Nate.
And I'm Steve.
Goodbye,
Bye.
everyone.